Hello, everyone. Welcome to another AssetMule Office Hours. And I am super excited for this one today because I've got a good friend here, Adam O'Brien, showing us some really cool stuff um, around referral programs and how to build them without having to bring on all kinds of new tools and subscriptions that you have to manage complexity, cost, and all that stuff. So I know we're all looking these days to be as scrappy and as lean as possible. And Adam, I actually reached out to you. I think it was just a week ago, right? You guys had launched this referral program, and I'd reached out. I've flirted with referral programs a couple of times, and never pulled the trigger just because of that, right? All the tools, all the cost that comes into it, and wanted to get your take on how you built out the referral program at Stackpack, and was interested to hear that actually you built it all in sort of HubSpot workflows. So you were kind enough to walk me through it, and I was like, you know what, this is going to be a great office hour session. I think a lot of people want to see that, so that's what we're going to be digging into today.
Sweet, I'm excited. Yeah, it's got definitely like startup core vibes, but I think it's hopefully going to help some people get up and running quick. And this is the third time I've been trying to do this. The first time it actually has worked.
Oh,
So this
nice.
is good. This is good. We can bypass all the problems I've run into over the years.
Awesome. So for those tuning in, if you've been here before, this is a live session. Feel free to drop any questions that you have in the comments, and I will pull from them and make sure that you get your answers, and we're covering them throughout the session. And if you're watching this as a recording after the fact, feel free to drop your questions as well. And this is going to live on the event page as a recording. So, tag Adam, tag myself, and we'll be sure to answer them later. Just real quick, again, for those that are new, I'm Justin Dorfman. I'm one of the co-founders at AssetMule. We run these office hours every week where we pull in marketing, sales, go-to-market experts like Adam to dive deep into real tactics and strategies that they're implementing. And Adam, maybe for those that aren't familiar with you, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your background and Stackpack. I know you guys are working on some really cool stuff over there. So maybe a quick intro on that before we dive into the topic of the day.
Yeah, my name's obviously Adam. I've been in the SaaS world in various different industries and different go-to-market. I've been all over the place: customer success, marketing, frontline support. Even when I broke into the scene for almost 12 or 15 years now, where I think that really the last 5 to 6 years I've found my niche as really feeling comfortable being either a solo marketer or a founding marketer or somewhere running with a very small team. So getting the most out of um, all the things pre AI, and now AI just makes my life a little bit easier, thankfully. So I landed in Stackpack early in the summer here, and what we do is effectively, since probably a bunch of marketers, think of how Clary is for your CRM in terms of pulling out pipeline analytics and insights. We kind of do that for finance teams, right? Where we sit on top of QuickBooks Online, NetSuites of the world, the Sages of the world, pull out all of the information about vendors, contracts, spend, and then we layer on some fine-tuned AI for finance specifically that basically allows you to click or type in prompts and get pretty dang detailed insights within a few seconds. So it's kind of cool to be on this wave. We went through and did our seed round back in May, and we're just cruising through hyper fast pace with development releases. It's the product marketer's dream. If you do have finance buddies on your teams that need help, come find me after this.
Awesome. Cool. Well, so topic of the day, the referral programs, and the tools, right? So maybe to set the stage, uh, what made you think or decide that Stackpack was ready for a referral program? And in terms of your approach, did you start looking at tools? Did you uh, explore any options, or was it straight away? You mentioned you had done it before a couple of times. Was it straight away, okay, I'm going to build this myself? And then I want to make sure that we obviously spend a lot of time actually looking at your workflow, but just a little bit of that context would be useful, I think.
Yeah. Third time's a charm, right? So I think one of the biggest things that the predicate is, hey, we need pipeline, as do all good ideas or crazy ideas. And I think that I know I'm incredibly blessed to have Mike, who's our head of sales, and Sarah, who's our founder and CEO, incredibly well connected in terms of their networks across the board, right? Both in San Francisco and Chicago and across the board through their past experiences. Not only that, they were also willing to help me do the work and actually like not just saying, hey, can you do this? Hey, we're going to take what we build and bring this to our networks and ask, right? Mike and Sarah are phenomenal at that. So that was the first thing. Not that I didn't have that, but they have special skill that's beyond all I'll get at when it comes to that and the networks. So like that's the first thing. Second of all, I got a good feeling the last couple of months that we had a product that people, once they started using, they verbally discussed or said, hey, this is really cool. I know people who could potentially use this. That was the other key thing, right? You can't do this kind of program from scratch if you don't have a product that people are adopting that are excited to use or solve a major problem. That is the other key component, almost like not so kind of like right below virality, but like, hey, people are willing to say this changes things for me. I'm going to go tell my other people about it. That's incredibly key. So those two things are the core components of kind of how we started to think about, okay, if we can get this thing stood up using the existing network from both Sarah and Mike, we have a product that we know is evolving fast and bringing AI and cool stuff to finance teams that are desperate need of AI tools that are fine-tuned for them, right? All is matter of just building this kind of mechanism to make this happen. And that's easier said than done, right? It's landing pages, it's forms, it's automation and workflows, it's how do we, incentivize, how does it impact CAC? So all this stuff kind of just kind of went downhill and ended up in my bag, which is great. Ultimately, budget I had set aside for this was $0. So it meant using tools that I already had, or getting super crafty about what tools I did use. And the only thing that I went hunting for was kind of a referral at first tracking and then incentives like redemption program platform, right? What we know we wanted to do is incentivize both the front and the back end of the deal cycle to make things super appealing, especially heading into the holiday season. Justin, if you're like me or anyone else on here, you know that $104 gift card or your Visa card, unlimited, uncapped, right? You could send as many people in. As soon as they hit that qualified demo, then you get that gift card, and I redeemed that, right? That was the one thing I had to make sure that it didn't cost us an arm and a leg. I didn't want to put anything money up front. I kind of wanted to use as is or as we came through that. And that's where, after about a day worth of researching, we landed on Tango as kind of the gift card redemption platform. But that's purely $3 upcharge, 3% on the 104, and we're good to go, man. So like we're cooking with AssetMule, our website, and then HubSpot for workflows and automations and email sends to notify and track all that. So like we're in good shape after all that. So four key things there.
Awesome. Well, let's dive in. If you want to share your screen, I'd love to unpack what it looks like under the hood. And again, you mentioned some of the tools that you're using, how they're kind of used in combination to create this referral workflow.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start with the actual. If I could there we go. So let's start with HubSpot, and then we'll move our way over to the other pieces. So everyone should be seeing. Justin, confirm that you can see
Let's
my
see. I
HubSpot.
think I might have to add it to this stage. Let's try that. There we go. Perfect.
Sweet. And so this is my disclaimer. This is by no means perfect. This works. There's a little hiccups here and there. I am largely using HubSpot for not what it's intended to, but hey, we are using the lowest tier, so I don't have access to all of the bells and whistles that would normally come along with this. If there's any way I can do this better with what we got, drop it in the chat. Happy to take advice. First things first, made my form, if you will, in HubSpot. And so like this workflow is triggering off the referral input, right? And so what that actually ends up looking like as I jump around to my forms is, I needed to track two things, and you're getting under the hood here. So I needed to be able to track the referral and the referee, right? Because I need to send out the gift cards, send out notifications when demos are held, when and if a deal closes, so on and so forth. So this is just, hey, give me your information. The first one is tell me a little bit about you, the referee, yeah. And then the person you're referring. We also added in this warm introduction made indicator. We're finding that things accelerate, and probably no surprise, when warm intros or the people that are being referred know what's coming. ahead of time, right? No, if you've ever done outbound work or any kind of sales, you should know this is key. This lets us know, actually trigger the probability of actually getting through. And something I'm tracking over time so I know A/B split across warm versus non-warm and how that impacts pipeline. The other big thing, and probably the most important thing here, is the T's and C's. We actually sat down with one of our lawyers for about 15 minutes to make sure that we were legally covered underneath this program. And we had to create a separate privacy policy and then terms of service for this. But this opts in for the person. This basically gives us the right to email people and make sure everyone's communicated. And then the final confirmation, right? This lives on our AssetMule specific landing page as well as our primary referral page on our website. But before we get there, now let's go take a jaunt back over to my automations. There we go. And so that form then triggers this workflow. And this workflow, all it's doing is using Breeze enrichment to make sure it enriches both contact records, making sure that we're opting these individuals in to receive marketing emails through that T's and C's check. Want to subscribe them very specifically to our Stackpack referral program subscription so they get those communications, as that's in their T's and C's. And this part right here is actually one of the things that took me a few minutes to get a hold of, but I think it's working smoothly. So basically this is saying, hey, based on both the primary and the secondary information spent on a form, go ahead and slap referee or referrer labels, association labels. I actually use that for reporting. I use that to track and make sure that we have people paid out appropriately. And we can see that on the contact record in just a minute. I also want to make sure to track the sourcing. So like this gets pretty, I guess, in depth in terms of, I don't want to do any of this. So this is all being handled. And this is the point where it takes the referee's name. If there's no contact, make the contact, then stamp it with the subscriptions, enrich it. And then finally, we get a fun little note to our team Slack channel to let us know when that goes on. Now I'm going to pause here. Justin, there's a lot that goes on here. Basically, I'm saying, hey, take these two records, make sure they're both created, enrich them, make sure they're stamped with the appropriate title when it comes to how we're breaking things down, and then let our teams know about this. And we celebrate in Slack with all these, right? And then we also double back in HubSpot. And you can see kind of go through and track these. I track them by life stage cycle, and we create a specific warm referral to track that as kind of like a holding pattern. But you can see two of these is kind of opportunity. I just sent out 3 gift cards yesterday for demos being held. I think we have another 1 or 2 that are already in place. So you're thinking about, on average, paying about $100 per demo, which is fine with me. And then we hold a really decently conversion rate thanks to Sarah and Mike doing their work. Now, I'm going to pause there. That probably is a lot, but questions from you or from anyone else?
Yeah. So, question. So, the person that's going through the flow is the person that is referring the prospect. Is that right? So, basically, they're either Mike or Sarah is sending the AssetMule page to them, or they're browsing Stackpack's page and they're like, "Oh, I love Stackpack. I know a ton of people that can use this. Let me sign up for this program." Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah. Do you have to enable?
Yeah. Let me
So that's a
share.
great question. And yeah, absolutely. So what you see, took some fun creative liberty, but this is effectively exactly that. So we are sending this landing page, and I mean Mike and Sarah, to their contacts who know people that they want to refer over to Stackpack. Sometimes it's customers, existing customers. Sometimes that's in their network or any mix in between, right? So as we go down, we wanted to give context, or I wanted to give context to understand. So you get two times payout, which is pretty clear from the head. A little bit about Stackpack if they need a refresher. Here's how the referral program works. Again, we're going explicitly outlining what people are getting and when they're getting that. We want to make sure we're not wasting our time as much as possible. So we outline who's a great fit for Stackpack to help guide and help anyone who's referring people to understand, hey, let's not waste some time here. Again, outlining exactly how this works and what to expect. And then finally the form, right? And then our T's and C's and referral program requirements, and the option to either learn more about Stackpack as a whole, or to book a call directly with Mike if people want to maybe they have a larger network and they want to understand how to do this at scale. And then our lawyers made us put this here, but these are our T's and C's that we worked with our legal team on. So this goes out, and then one of my favorite things here is this find and refer a LinkedIn connections button, where I actually ended up pre-programming or basically grabbing a URL of a defined search in LinkedIn for finance professionals that fit our criteria, so that people can click that, automatically see who's in their network and start inviting, right? It's removing friction in tiny little pieces. So that's how we get the word out. I doubled this over on our website, so it's almost the exact same thing, just not as fun with the now and later.
Awesome. Are you finding, first of all, that LinkedIn thing, I remember when you showed that to me, that is like super cool. Uh, to your point, any friction you can remove makes it so much easier for someone to take action and not say, listen, I'm going to do this later. I'll go through my network later. It's like they can click on it, they see the list, they're like, going to take action right now. Are you finding that so far, I know you just launched this, but the referrals are mostly coming from Mike and Sarah reaching out directly to people, or are you also seeing the organic side from the website? Are you doing any paid to drive traffic to the website? How does that look between the two different flows, entry points, let's say, into the program?
Yeah. Initially, the first push was directly from Sarah and Mike, so they did a great
Yeah.
job. I think we netted anywhere between 6 and 8 within the first week or two, which is really good. 3 of those which have pinned into qualified demos, one of which has actually closed one deal. So you think about that, basically $0 pipeline create, or $0 to build that pipeline is not too shabby, right? And we're still testing this, right? We had an assumption and we're trying to figure out and make sure, hey, will this work over long term before we scale it? Started introducing this to our customer base. So I worked with the engineering team to put a referral kind of a CTA in our bottom left-hand tray of our product. It takes them directly to the website referral page, as well as we just introduced this. You think you saw the email too, Justin. The kind of concept of that, and that actually netted three referrals within about 20 minutes. So
Wow.
again, it's having happy customers is great.
Yeah.
That helps a lot, right? And then simply just bringing visibility in a non-annoying way also pays dividends too if you're patient. We are toying with the idea of potentially doing some custom lists on LinkedIn and running ads to support this through the holiday season to our customer base specifically. Not sure yet, but that's kind of on the front of mind. But most of this has been word of mouth outreach, and then some light email from the marketing side to our customer base.
Got it. And then let's say now somebody did refer somebody, they scheduled a demo, maybe they even then closed as a deal. What's the workflow look like after that? I think we've covered sort of the sign up, we've covered the form. I know, obviously, like it's sort of one of those crawl before you walk, before you run sort of things, and there might be some manual pieces to this right now, but I think that's really good for people to see, right? The trade-off of like getting something going before you got all the pieces, right, automated.
Yeah, I'm trying to get this pulled up. You're gonna laugh. This is where the duct tape part comes in. So let me. So I know this is crazy, but this is how I'm tracking things. So
Yep.
effectively, what I'm doing is every week or so, I'll export the form fills from HubSpot into the spreadsheet. I track with a few columns myself, so I can make sure that, hey, demo is completed, gift card's been sent, keep myself on track, whether or not someone's a customer, so on and so forth. And then I end up going back into HubSpot. I'll redeem the gift card through Tango, since it is free to be on there, and it's 3% of each card is what we're charging, kind of a service fee, $107 in our case per card, which is great. And then I send those out. I send a confirmation email through HubSpot on the account with either Sarah or Mike CC'd, and then we're good to go, right? So that's the more manual part, but I'm okay with that because it takes me maybe an hour every 20 to 30 days to make sure that we're in place, redeem the gift cards, send them out, send notes to thank them, and then we're good to go, right?
Yep. Yep. And then in terms of reporting, you kind of showed us a quick glance at the HubSpot dashboard that you had, but what are some of the key things that you're watching, to make sure that the program's paying off, or that, there are improvements maybe that you can find to make in the tool set?
Yeah, we're tracking the conversions, the number of conversions, and the type and where, but we're also making sure I'm keeping track of source and source detail very explicitly when it goes to not only lead, but once it converts into a deal and a closed one, right? So I'm tracking and following the funnel from initial conversion all the way down to closed won, closed lost. So we don't have a huge annual contract value right now for this, so it makes it pretty simple to calculate and to track and follow when it comes to an actual ROI. So I think what we've seen, probably close to 10K in pipeline build.
Wow.
We've seen roughly about 3K close out of that. So that's not a terrible percentage out of roughly 3 to 4 demos held, and about 9 to 10 total referrals. So like that's some pretty decent, funnel metrics when it comes to conversion by far. Right now, our second most efficient channel compared, when you parallel that with physical events, is just crushing it for our team right now.
Mm,
It's been one of those things where inbound hasn't been there yet because we're still babies, right? We're growing
yeah.
awareness, and that'll
Yep.
come over time. So it's like, hey, this is a great second channel to rely on consistently over time. And I think that's what we're after next, is understand, hey, how many of these can we, plan for month over month, quarter over quarter, and then how do we scale that? Scaling comes with customer count going up naturally. So as we kind of find our footing and as we start to hit growth ramps, that's when that will start to pick up too as well.
Right. That makes sense. And the cost, if we think about this, right? We said zero additional tool costs, but even if we think of like the total cost, right? So you've got HubSpot. What sort of plan are you on? What sort of area?
We're
I think we're paying like $90. I don't know what you guys are paying.
Yeah, we're at 297 a month,
Okay. Yep.
which is way cheaper than it's ever been anywhere else for me, which is good. If you're at a startup and you don't have a CRM, like you can go talk to them and do their startup plan, where they'll give you
Yeah.
50% off year one, 25% off year two, with it's their way to get their holds on you, right? But that's a great option. It's what we're doing now. So $300 a month for that. We're already using that. AssetMule, you can do, I think, one or two interactive documents for free, right?
For
So like
free, right? You can get
there's no
started. Yeah.
there's no excuse from that part. And if you want my template, I'll share it with you. It was pretty easy builder. They got tons of templates in there. Great job, Justin and George, on that one. So that gets you moving, and it's easy. It takes like 15 minutes to get set up, if that. Tango just takes a little bit of time to get set up. I think it took me, an hour at most. Most of my time was waiting for them to confirm me and make sure I'm not some sort of like gift card hustling entity. Um, and then
And that one is like the cost is tied to actual conversions, because like it's the gift card, right? It's a percentage
Yep.
on the gift card. So that's tied directly to, ROI basically, which is awesome.
Yep, and I'm
Um,
just using the basic HubSpot workflows, nothing crazy. So
yep.
like anyone who has HubSpot and has workflows turned on or accessible can do what I did with no extra dollar value.
And then time it took to build this thing. So I know you're maybe more well versed in HubSpot than some of us other newer players in the game. So that it, not might not be realistic for all of us, but for you, how long did it take, kind of beginning to end? Like you had the concept, you knew sort of what you're going to do, but building this thing.
Yeah, I think from ideation to launching, I think it took us four and a half, maybe 5 days.
Okay.
For me to actually build it, it was less than 20 or 48 hours, I think.
Wow.
And most of that was one, tinkering with the referral tag in the workflow in HubSpot, and then waiting for access to Tango, and then our lawyer,
Legal stuff.
getting on the calendar, the legal stuff, working through that was the probably the biggest, time waiting period. So like we started Monday, we had stuff in place like the bones by Tuesday end of day, and we were launched by I think Friday.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I would say like somebody that's maybe newer to HubSpot, if they give themselves a good 2 weeks or so to get things together, maybe week one is sort of like learning, getting familiar with the workflows and all that stuff, getting stuff scheduled with the lawyers and all that stuff, and then week two is really building, and by then you should have it going. Any mistakes that you made, or like, if I were to do this, let's say now, anything that I should like, l- you know, hard earned lessons that you went through that you could help me avoid?
Yeah, I think the incentivization is a really interesting thing that we took some time to ideate on, where it wasn't. We knew that it had to be something immediately, dangle the carrot right away. In addition to a larger payout, if it's because we wanted to reinforce, hey, don't just throw stuff over the fence. We want quality people to refer our way, right? So that was where that kind of unique two reward system came through, and that's that. I mean, I haven't seen it much of anywhere else, which was really kind of cool to do that. But that is a really helpful incentivization for people to be like, hey, comb your network. Takes maybe 15 to 20 minutes at most. Find the people you think would be a fit, and then send them on over, right? With an introduction beforehand. So that was one thing that I hadn't thought of necessarily all the way through in previous stops. When you touched on the product and like people actually liking and using the product is a big piece.
Yeah.
So don't try and force it. Referral programs are not for every company. They just aren't, and that's okay. I think what is it? Every organization typically has 1 to 3 primary channels of pipeline growth. This isn't one of it. Then cool. Like that's okay. The third is having the team in place to help promote and push the program. In addition to in this case me, and that's what Mike and Sarah do brilliantly. In that they have the network, they have the ability and skills to go out, and they have the drive to go out and just crush it. So those three things are typically the biggest things that I've noticed that are different at asset or different at Stackpack. Has really helped this program go forward quickly.
And I think you can test this out to make sure that you're ready for it before doing the build, right? Like for instance, because you touch on such a critical part, is this a referable product, right? Do people get enough value that they will go out of their way to make a referral? So you can go to people and just say, hey, I know you're really successful, having a lot of success with this. Are there a couple people that that would benefit from this as well? And by the way, if you do make those referrals and we manage to schedule a demo, I'll send you a gift card, right? And you can do that without any tooling. And I think once you do that and you get a couple bites, that's a good sign that maybe it's time to lock in some tooling to automate this a little bit more. Adam, one final question for you is, sort of where are you taking the program now? Like what improvements do you plan to make going forward? And I guess two-part question. The second part is, do you see yourselves bringing on a like purpose-built tool for this, or is it sort of like, let's see how long we can take this homegrown solution?
Yeah, I think the plans is just to continue pushing and promoting, right? And to understand, hey, is this really a viable growth channel, or is it simply like, hey, we can count on this for 3 close-won deals every quarter? If that's it consistently over 6 to 12 months, cool. That's one less thing I have to worry about, and we just keep that running, right? Now that should amplify as more customers come on, as the product improves and continues to get better. So that's kind of hold, test, and then kind of look back at trends and see where we go, right? In terms of the tooling, I would much rather spend my dollars in other areas for pipeline gen or for brand
Yeah,
awareness. Um, Not, I was getting quotes of 10 to 15K a year for like program platforms.
yeah.
Not about that life for me. So no intent on doing anything of that, unless this program gets so overbearing in terms of time on me, since I'm solo marketer, where it's taking away other key components of the business. That's when that changes. But I will literally probably self combust before I have to go do that.
Yeah, I think I mean, this is a good sort of way to wrap up the session, because I think that's the key learning here. If you're a founding marketer, scrappy marketer, you know, build these things manually until it's taking way too much of your time that you can't manually manage it anymore, and that's the time to start looking at tooling, right? Because it's a great way to really test the waters with these new programs, understand the mechanics like intimately, and then once proven successful, you already have the justification, the ROI to be able to invest more heavily in it. So, Adam, this was awesome. This is exactly what I was, envisioning and hoping for. I love these sessions when we really get to roll up our sleeves and get into the actual work that folks are doing. If somebody's listening to this and or watching this and they want to dig deeper with you, they want to explore, first of all, can they reach out to you? Second of all, where can they reach out to you? And if somebody likes Stackpack, they're like, oh, that would be an awesome tool. Or they're a Stackpack customer and they're like, I didn't know that Stackpack had a referral program. I want to take advantage of that. Where can they go to learn more about Stackpack?
Yeah, always reach out to me. Come heckle me. LinkedIn's probably your best bet. So connect with me for an hour connected and just shoot me a DM or comment on this live stream. I'll pick it up pretty quick. Always happy to help. You can come. I'll help you build it from ground up too. I'm just a psycho like that. As far as I'm assuming most marketers are on this, watching this. If you do have finance buddies in your org that could use something like Clary, but for finance, and their ERP and their costs and their vendors, come find me. Stackpack.ai is the place to be. That also happens to be where you can find the referral program if you're an existing Stackpack customer, or you don't have to be. You can be anyone. Refer people away. Just send us all your finance network, and we will do the rest. And that'll be it. So Stackpack.ai is the vibe.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Adam. And for those that tune in, thank you so much for the time. I hope you found it valuable. We do this almost every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We bring on guests like Adam to walk us through the awesome stuff that they're doing and really roll up our sleeves and take a look at the work that's being done. So definitely subscribe to AssetMule on LinkedIn to follow us. We're always producing as valuable content as we can with the office hours and our podcasts and everything. So definitely follow us. And if you wanted to try out AssetMule, you can go to assetmule.ai and build a referral program landing page just like Adam did. I would also check out Follow Up, our new product, which is a lightweight digital sales room, AI powered. Go to gofollowup.ai to check that out. And other than that, until next week, we're looking forward to diving deeper into a new topic. But thanks again for joining today.